All of us got the news on Saturday that Raila Odinga, the ODM party leader, your party leader, Honorable Samatandi, has gotten that opportunity to be the first African Union High Representative in terms of infrastructure development on the continent. I don't know, as a party, how are you receiving this appointment, of course, looking at the political affairs of the party?
Well, of course, we are, of course, very happy. And we have welcomed the appointment because His Excellency Raila Odinga deserves this position. First of all, because on merit, you know, Raila Odinga is one of the remaining towering Pan-Africanists that we have right now. So this appointment, I think, should be viewed from the point of view that Raila Odinga merits this position. But of course, we also must say that there's the government support that is necessary for such appointments to happen. And so, first of all, we want to thank the government for supporting his bid for this position.
Right.
But we must also add that Raila Odinga himself merits this appointment because of his status as one of the remaining and towering Pan-Africanists. Yes. So
in your view, David Osiani, the position title is High Representative in charge of infrastructure development on the continent. What does his work entail? How do Kenyans now start associating him with the development of the region?
Now, you know, the mandate of AU is such as it presides over the overall governance of the continent. And the role of High Representative is not unique to Raila Odinga. Maybe for infrastructure development, he becomes the pioneer holder of the office. I know the former president of Mali, Alpha Konare, has been the AU High Representative to South Sudan, for example. This means that Raila Odinga is entrusted with the duty of advising the AU on what would be the best way forward for infrastructural development in Africa. How are we able to build or even complete some of these transport corridors that were initiated way back as a way of interconnecting the African continent so that it is an enabler for business and many other things. You must notice that Raila's appointment is based, as it was indicated, on his Pan-Africanist or Afro-optimist stance over the years. He has sought the unification of the African continent over time. And on that basis, therefore, and because of his, I bet, outstanding performance as a Minister for Roads in this country, where he oversaw the building of some of the major infrastructure, he was then told, come and do that magic for us. Remember that these bypasses that we enjoy today were a workmanship of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga back then when he was Minister for Roads. And it brought a lot of chaos when they were initiated. People said, oh, this guy, they don't even have businesses. They want to bring down our businesses. Today, they have served greatly in decongesting the city center and dealing with the problem of traffic and enabling easy movement and flow of vehicles and goods and services. So I wish him well, and I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta as well for supporting the Right Honorable Raila Odinga to achieve this particular appointment. These things do not just happen. They don't happen per chance. They are well choreographed. They are done based on, you know, your ability to deliver on that mandate. And so we wish the Right Honorable Raila Odinga very well in this new appointment. I pray and I know it will be good for the continent, for this particular country, because as he advises where we need to put resources, where to negotiate with the African Development Bank to assist, I am sure he will think of home first.
Right, and I see that story just before you go, Samatandi. It's focused on page 4 of the Daily Nation, where the Foreign Ministry and IGAD have welcomed Raila's new AU role. You see they are quoting the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Monica Juma, and of course the IGAD, they are saying that Monica Juma is saying that she will give Odinga the necessary support in order to guarantee utmost success during his tenure of service to the continent. And so the questions that Kenyans would ask is, I don't know who has the response for this, like where his office will be, how he will be operating. Of course, you're saying that he'll be vouching for infrastructural development and advising the AU in as far as that is concerned. But the exact workings of his office, how will that be designed? I don't know who has a response to that.
I think the Raila Odinga will sit in 3 places. He will sit in the AU office in Tunis. He will sit at the AU office in Addis, and he will have the leeway to sit and operate from Nairobi. I suppose, if I read correctly in the dailies, I think a day or 2 ago, that when of course the CS for Foreign Affairs says that they will enable him, they will give him all the support. I bet part of the support would be to allow him the leeway of operating from his zone of comfort, as is with many other corporates or government or intergovernmental and global institutions, which can allow you to operate your duties from your place of most convenience. So I hope he will be able to have a fully functional office based in Nairobi, just as he will have sitting places in AU and Tunis to allow him work easily.
Most locally, politicians have been suggesting that because of this appointment, Raila Amolo Odinga now will not continue to undertake his local responsibilities to the people of Kenya.
Will he?
Yeah, definitely. What I wanted to say that I think that he will still continue to serve us, especially our members of NASA and ODM. We do not expect him to relinquish his responsibilities locally for politics and for leadership. And so this is something that I wanted to put out there. But I also wanted to say that the credentials of His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga and the appointment to this position is something that Kenyans must celebrate. And in my view, it is not just appointment for himself, it is actually a win for Kenya. That one of our leading statesmen has got a continental responsibility to champion growth of infrastructure in Africa. And I think in terms of positioning our country for the future, this is something that I really honestly would like to thank the President for supporting His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga to this position. It is something that I would like to plead with my colleagues in Parliament, because I saw a lot of politicization yesterday in rallies where some people are saying that, look, now he's now a big man, leave for us these issues of local politics, do not get involved. I think that is really false. And we want His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga to continue championing national integration, national unity, constitutional reforms, and everything that is going to work for the stability of this country.
Joy, how much of the handshake is in this appointment, and how does it help both the continent move forward as well as the country in as far as the political stability is concerned?
Thank you very much for having me on the show this morning. From the onset, when the handshake happened, there was always rumors about a sort of international role, a sort of international position that was being crafted for the Right Honorable Odinga. The problem with that time was none of us had any clarity what this was going to look like. And so when this announcement was made, for many of us was like, so this is the manifestation of what was rumored, because there's plenty that happened between the two gentlemen that is still not privy to the rest of us. But in terms of national cohesion and unity and what it does for the rest of Kenyans, for me, I think it is important, and that's the argument we're having even now with the referendum. It is important for us to recognize that when somebody is a leader of the magnitude and the stature of Honorable Raila, it is important to give him a platform to do that which he needs to do to move the country forward. This was one of the criticisms we had even in 2007, 2008, because we had an opportunity to redeem ourselves as a nation and to recraft ourselves. But what we did, we retreated into tribal cocoons, and the political polarization became worse.
Right.
With this, we see an opportunity for all Kenyans to own Honorable Raila. It's not an achievement for NASA, it's not an achievement for Jubilee, it's an achievement for Kenya. And for me, that's a very positive thing, because for a long time, it's always like what Honorable Atandi is saying right now. Now let him leave us with the, it was always us versus them. But this is something that all Kenyans can say, you know what, this is something that we are proud of. This is something that is good for Kenya as a whole. But we cannot get away from the fact that when you have an international appointment, it's often seen as being shunted out of the local politics. Remember most recently, the senator, the recently sworn-in senator of Migori, was offered an ambassadorial position. But because he had ambition in Migori, he said, you know what, forget that one. I have my eye on a prize. So that argument, it might not die down just yet. Time will tell.
And there are actually some voices that we heard from Nandi yesterday. I don't know whether they have those up sounds from the members of Parliament and Senate who spoke in Nandi County yesterday. I'm told that we don't have them yet, but either way, we'll get back to them. But they were saying that Raila Odinga has been given an opportunity to now steer the matters of African Union. And Samson Cherargei, the senator for Nandi, was saying that Uhuru should now find a way of finding Kalonzo a job, probably in Ethiopia, then Mudavadi can be sent to Nigeria, and then the rest of them can remain in the country and run the country. Is this what it means, and what is Raila Odinga's place in national politics in view of this position that he now holds?
I want us to appreciate that President Uhuru Kenyatta has a three-pronged approach to his legacy, which is building the bridges, then the Big Four agenda, then fight against graft. And what President Kenyatta has demonstrated is that when I shook hands with Raila Odinga, I was genuine about it. When I saw him as a bigger brother, I was honest about it. When I speak about moving the country forward and building the bridges, I am truly intending to build the bridges. Now, whether or not the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will return to national politics is his to choose. I know a number of people, very many others in different parts of the world, who have taken up international roles, but when time came for them, they went back to play local politics, including David Miliband, who is the chair of ICRC. So whether or not the Right Honorable Raila Odinga will come back is his to choose. And that's why I'm saying we should not politicize the appointment and start using it to fulfill, you know, our, to make ourselves happy if we do not, you know, really like him or not. What we should do is, as we go out to those funerals, is to explain to people, we want a united country. The president, in those funerals where they speak, because that's where they spoke. They spoke in a funeral. So when you go to talk to them, tell them, you have seen the president has decided to really unify this country. We are glad. He has lobbied for and ensured that the Right Honorable Prime Minister is given a role which will be good for the country. Now, does this strengthen or weaken Raila Odinga's place in the national politics? That would be a thing to say after a year or two. I'm not too sure that the person of Raila Odinga's stature would easily be diminished by an international role, even if he chaired UNDP globally. Because he has tenterhooks that run deep. He just needs to send a word. He keeps the political scene running. You, as a political you know, journalist, know very well. It is very hard to find someone who since 1989 June has had his name carried on the papers every day to this date. Every day. For 29 years. So it will be very hard to, you know, unless he decides consciously to take a seat and say, you know what, this is it. I am going higher and higher, and I'm not coming back to the local politics.
We've seen precedent either way, like the example you gave, and even Anati Baijuka. We've seen precedent of people using these international platforms to build stature and go back home and run for office. So this is something that has been used for good effect before. You've heard even rumors among the Mulembe nation saying maybe we can rehabilitate Muhisa and tone down his arrogance and front.
Yes.
So this is not something, in my opinion, that would entirely diminish your stature in terms of local politics. What it might do is distract you from the day-to-day activities, and so you lose your touch. And I agree with David in one score. The sort of reach that Honorable Raila has, I mean, he can keep quiet for 3 years, and when he wakes up to talk, I mean, look at somebody like President Moi. How long has it been since he was in office? But people are still finding political relevance in him even now. So it might actually not be a diminishing factor.
All right, let's listen to those sub-songs, and then we'll come back and take the views of Samatandi.
Yetu umetsukuma yeye aende sasa South Africa. Your Excellency, hata Kalonzo weka yeye Ethiopia, alafu usukume ule mwa DVD weka yeye huko Nigeria. Ndio sisi wenye tuko nyumbani tuweze kufanya kazi ya kubadilisha na kuleta maendeleo ya kwenda mbele.
Tuko mwaka wa 6 na tunaendelea, tumalize miaka 10. Uhuru Kenyatta akatuambia yake ikiisha ni 10 ambayo itaendeshwa na naibu wake William Samoei Arap Ruto ambaye ndiye Joshua,
na kwa sababu ameenda kupata kazi kubwa kuliko Prime Minister. Tunamuuliza hii sasa siasa kidogo ya nchi moja kama Kenya. Yeye sasa ni kiongozi wa Afrika.
Yeah. Right, so it's clear from especially Samson Cherargei and Ndindi Nyoro, they are saying that now he is gone, he's yasandogo mpaka ya referendum tuache. So it would appear like Raila Odinga was, what is the word that I use, was the one keely, if that is English, championing for for referendum. Where does that now go?
You know I get disappointed with my colleagues, especially the young members of parliament, who have decided to really play ethnic, some sort of sectarian and ethnic politics. Especially the young members of parliament who are aligned to, who are pushing for the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya to become the president of Kenya in 2022. And I think they have refused to really open their eyes widely. First of all, nobody has pushed His Excellency Raila Odinga out of Kenya, because the message I'm getting from Cherargei is that we have removed him from his role in Kenya. Right now, if you look at the energy and the impetus that has been given to this government towards addressing some of the challenges the government has in terms of corruption and even integration and etc., and even the new spirit in which now the country is moving forward. These are some of the things that Raila has already contributed. So Raila is not a person, if you're honest, he's not a person you want to say you want to get out of the system. This is the person you need for the country to progress. So if somebody is sitting somewhere and thinks that because he's taking up this assignment, that now is not going to be around, we really need him to be around, and as a member of ODM, member of parliament, we do not anticipate a separation of his contribution, his participation in local issues. Remember, it is Kenya that has propelled him to this position. So Kenya must be reorganized and Kenya must be served. So we are not going to allow His Excellency Raila to be out of Kenya. He is still the leader of ODM. ODM is a party of reforms. And we are going to continue to champion reforms for the betterment of this country.